Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I am Joseph Holmes, a culture critic for Religion Unplugged, your one stop shop for all the best religious news and culture. And with me today is the legendary Kevin Sorbo. I'm going to read off just a little bit of his impressive resume. He received international stardom when he booked the lead role in Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, which went on to become the most watched TV show in the world. Following that success, he had the lead role in Captain Dylan Hunt and Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda. He shot over 90 movies, most notably What If, which we'll be talking about more today, God's Not Dead, Soul Surfer, Reagan, Let There Be Light, Miracle in East Texas, and Left Behind, Rise of the Antichrist. He released his memoir, True Strength, My Journey from Hercules to Mere Mortal and How Nearly Dying Saved My Life. Also co-wrote the follow-up book, True Faith, Embracing Adversity to Living God's Light with his wife, Sam. His latest releases are children's books with Brave Books, The Test of Lionhood, and the Bare Essentials of Fatherhood. He is the great, the legendary Kevin Sorbo. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, you read that. I think I need to start getting busier in my life.
No. I definitely I left out a lot, but we only have 15
Oh,
minutes
no.
here, so I want to get to actually talking with you. But no, it's definitely a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Of course. So anyway, as we dipped our toe into there, you've had a long and illustrious career. You've been Hercules, and then you have also recently made recently is like been a couple decades maybe, but like been taking a transition into being a big star in the faith-based film industry. And so I wanted to know first off for our audience,
Sure.
was that transition intentional? Like you said, okay, you know what, I want to be articulating and doing movies that reflect these specific values more intentionally, or was that something that just the opportunities came and you said, okay, yeah, let me embrace these as they're coming?
I think it's more the latter. With really, it was Dallas Jenkins. We were friends when we were both living in LA. He moved to Chicago actually when What If premiered, but then he came to Dallas. I'm living in Florida now, but our kids were roughly the same age, so we knew each other. He sent me the script for What If, and I read the script. And I just remember calling him up and saying, "Look, who's playing Pastor Ben in this movie?" And he listed a couple of actors, names that you would know. I'm just not going to name them. And I said, "No, I'm playing the role." And he said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "I can't afford you." And I said, "I don't care. This script is so good." And so that's really how it happened. And to me, I mean, I've always been a Christian. I'm certainly not perfect in any way. I pretend to be, but
Join the club.
yeah, but it was a couple years later when PureFlix brought me God's Not Dead, which ended up being a massive hit. Well, it's the same writers that did God's Not Dead did What If, and the 90 plus movies I've shot, What If in my book is a better movie. And I talk about this a lot. I do a lot of speaking events. I do a lot of Christian education, pro-life, motivational, health, whatever it may be. I do about 15 to 20 speaking events a year across the country. Every one of those, I talk about what if. And Dallas said, it's interesting because there seems to be more streaming of What If now as the years have gone by. And with his success with The Chosen and power that he's got with that amazing series, they decided, let's get together and re-release this movie because so many people have not seen it and so many people are discovering it. Through my company, sorbostudios.com, my wife and I, our production office, we get a lot of people commenting on it and complimenting on it. And to me, it hasn't aged. I mean, I've aged, but it hasn't aged. It's very rare that a movie that's 15 years old would get a second run in theaters. And Fathom's going to push it out there. I'm going to push it out as much as I can. Hopefully, you are as well with your followers. It's a wonderful, heartwarming. It's funny. It's touching. Chrissy Swanson's great. John Ratzenberger is amazing as a smartass angel in this. And to me, it was just a pleasure to be part of that movie. And that is what really opened up the door to me to say, I want to do more movies like this that have a positive impact on people. And you see what Hollywood's doing over the last 10 years, 12 years. It's changed drastically in the message they want to send. Well, I want to keep doing movies, not necessarily faith-based. Every movie is a faith-based movie.
Sure.
I got friends who are atheists, and I said, that's an amazing faith to believe in nothing. You believe in absolutely nothing. But to me, it's like, I'm going to keep doing movies that have an impact on people. Don't want to be in your face. This is a movie, yeah, it's faith-based, but it's not like in your face with it. It's not you better believe. It's this guy's journey. that's always been a Christian, but he kind of went away from it. And I think in the back of his mind, he still believed. He just didn't follow that belief anymore in terms of how he lived his life. But this was a kick in the butt, and it's a reverse. It's a wonderful life. He gets a chance to see what his life could have been like, even though he likes the life and the road that he's on. And I think something we all have what ifs in our life. I think every one of us go, gosh, had I known, I would have invested in Netflix back in 2005
Yeah, yeah.
when it was
You and me
$5 a
both.
share.
Yes. Well, that's really cool. I mean, that's really awesome to hear for me. Like, I didn't know because I remember watching What If way back when it was first, streaming on the Christian,
Yeah.
networks and on there. And I remember being like, wow, this is, one of the better ones that I've seen.
Hmm.
And I was like, the writing is good in this,
Yeah.
the
Chuck and
directing is
Carrie
good.
are great writers, great writers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to find out that's your origin story for entering this world.
Yeah.
And I think that that's, people don't really understand that is that actors want to be involved in good stuff, whether they're Christians or not. And when the material is there,
Well,
then you will.
before that, about 3 years before that, I did a Hallmark movie that was definitely faith-based called Avenging Angel. It was a Western.
Hmm.
It did so well. At the time, it was their highest ranked movie in Hallmark's history. I'm sure they've had bigger ones since then, but at the time, so they made DVDs out of it. And I highly recommend Avenging Angel. It's a
Oh,
great,
nice. I'll check that out. Yeah.
yeah, it's a really wonderful, wonderful movie about love lost, faith lost, and then gained again. And it's pretty interesting.
That's really cool. So you've already noted a couple of things that were going to be questions of mine, which is really cool. You're really good at this. You've been at this for a while. But yeah, as people know, this is a movie that was by Dallas Jenkins, who's become very famous from The Chosen. Now that he's on The Chosen, and so now this movie is getting more attention, is getting a revival of
Yeah.
interest, partly because of his name and partly just because it's been around a while and people are discovering it. And it is interesting because you have now been, again, it's 15 years, you've been a part of this world, of this Christian world that's been going on for a while, for, again, 15 years now, which is kind
Sure.
of crazy. And yeah, the movie it is a really good movie. It is, like you said, a reverse It's a Wonderful Life. It's like, okay, you can see the life you could have led, but a Reformation story. And it's, again, everyone loves a good repentance
Mhm.
story. Everyone loves a good, a
Sure.
person changed his life around story. Like you said, a Christmas Carol, that's what that's about. And that's a very heavy faith element story too. So they did a really good job for that. So I guess my question is, since you have been a part of this industry for a while, what are the big
Right.
changes that you think you've seen in it in your time here?
Well, I think the growth has been positive. I think the independent world has exploded, and I think a lot of that comes from the woke insanity of Hollywood. I think people are sick of the movies that they're trying to shove down their throats. I mean, I don't know, for Disney, for instance, I don't know how many more hundreds of millions of dollars they need to lose every year to finally get the message that people don't want to change Snow White. They want Snow White to be the way it was. So, I mean, and that's just one of many examples. But you look at what the Irwin brothers are doing, the Kendricks, and all these other, Cindy Bond and her movies. I mean, there's so many wonderful independent producers out there, and the equipment is just as good as any James Cameron thing. Maybe we just don't do as many visual effects, and we're going to shoot more than 1/8 of a page a day, and not take 7 years to finish one movie. But these are wonderful movies that I know these are movies that Hollywood used to do. They did. They used to do wonderful movies that had good messages in there. And the good guy won. We started celebrating the anti-heroes back in the 60s when the whole Vietnam War, the hippie movement, the free love, the get rid of Bibles in schools, and all these things were changing so quickly. But I think there's a good tipping point happening right now. I think people are fed up with what's going on in the world. There's a religious war, there's a secular war, there's a faith war. There's so many things going on out there right now. There's a cultural war. And I think these are the good ways to fight back. And there's a lot of great scripts out there. Our biggest thing is trying to raise money for them. I do movies in
Yeah.
the $3 million range. People go, wow, that's a lot of money. That's catering budget in Pirates of the Caribbean. Those are $300 million movies that have $100 million to throw it out there. I told Troy Duhan, who actually he funded God's Not Dead. For that little $2 million movie to make $140 million in all avenues, whether streaming, DVDs, theatrical, I said that's like one baseball team hitting two grand slams in one inning. because there was no, it was all word of mouth. And that's why we need people's word of mouth on this movie right now. They will love this movie. Trust me. I'm not just saying it because I'm in it. I've been saying it for years, not knowing they're going to re-release it again. It's one of my, I've shot 95 movies and it's in my top three easily.
That's amazing. So yeah, this is my kind of wrap up question. What
Sure.
would, if there's somebody who's on the fence about seeing it, what would you say to them the reason that they should go see it, revisit this 15-year-old movie? And second, what do you hope that they leave with once they've watched it?
I hope they have a renewed belief and hope and love. If they're, you know, I always tell people, I go, look, it's hard to ask somebody that's. I mean, I got atheist friends. If I say, hey, you want to go to my church? They're like, there's church people there. I don't want to go there. But I say, hey, you want to go see a movie? It's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing. I've had people stop me, whether agnostic or atheist in airports or whatever, saying, dude, I saw What If, or I saw Let There Be Light. I saw your movie. I'm not a believer like you are, but I thought it was a really good movie and a good message. And to me, I appreciate that. That's a win to me. Because I don't want
Yeah.
movies now. I don't want to just preach to the choir, so to speak. I want everybody to enjoy this movie and just look at it as just a good movie, a good family movie. I mean, at the most, I would put a PG on this. And your 7-year-old kid can see it. Trust me. So I hope every pastor out there and every religion says, go see this movie and support this movie, because without it, Hollywood is going to keep winning this battle.
Well, so what if the 15th anniversary edition, starring Kevin Sorbo, directed by Dallas Jenkins, will be in the theaters for 2 nights, August 5th and 7th.
Yep.
So definitely, if this sounds good to you, check that out. And I believe I will have a review of the movie up on Religion Unplugged at that time as well. So definitely check that out if you want more info. Thank you so much, Kevin, for being here. And thank everybody for listening. This is Religion Unplugged, your one-stop shop for all the best religious news and culture.